I couldn't understand the reason why I just woke up one morning and boom, my page was no longer on social media. 18.9k followers. This was a page I built for 5 years.
I started taking alcohol, started going to many things to feel better.
Hello, this is Unfiltered. Still on the series of our special episode on surviving depression, we have Onwuhalu Lillian Ijoma. She is the creative director at Floral Enterprise by Lilies, also known as Abuja Flower Shop. She is also an intentional lifestyle consult aimed to inspire women. A certified marriage and relationship coach with the Institute of Marriage and Family Affairs. She's been married for 12 years and a mom of 4 sons. But most importantly, she survived depression. Welcome to Unfiltered, Mrs. Lillian.
Thank you so much.
So, to begin this conversation, right, let us ask, you're married with children.
Yeah.
You have a business of your own and, well-known business. Some people will think, oh, she has a fairly good life going for her. And they'll be wondering what should make her depressed. There's nothing that will make her depressed. So let me ask, what was that major or key factor that pushed you into depression?
I don't really want to even sound so using the deep word of being depressed. Do you understand? Because I feel every human being go through this situation. It all depends on the intensity. This the pain takes you into. Right? So, when I started my business like 5 years ago, I was running my business on social media. I created this platform to build my business because I was working from home. Now my kids were very small. I just felt they needed me around them. So I needed to build this business somewhere around the home. Then I was using social media as my platform to do my business. It was going very well. We grew. We had lots of customers both within Abuja and outside of Abuja. We had a lot of customers. Even in Ghana, we had customers in Ghana then. We were doing pretty well. Then as soon as we clocked 5 years in business, it looked like all hell was let loose because I couldn't understand the reason why I just woke up one morning and boom, my page was no longer on social media. And this is a page that was at almost, let's say it's around 18 to 19k followers. 18.9k followers.
That's a lot.
To be precise. Then I woke up that morning precisely on the 7th of June 2024 and I just realized that my page was no longer there. And my customers were calling that morning, Lily, I can't find you online, I can't find you anywhere. And I was like, what is going on? We even had some transactions that we've not even closed on our DM
deal.
Then it was such a very frustrating situation that morning because I was getting ready for my sister's wedding the next day. So everything was just happening all at the same time. And we were like, I clicked the appeal button because they will always drop an appeal button there. They said that this page went against a guideline on drugs and guns. So I was wondering why a page that sells artificial flowers would suddenly start going against the guideline on drugs and guns. When I clicked on the appeal button, that was how they took down the page permanently. And the page was gone. This was a page I built for 5 years. I didn't have any clue of how to navigate through that situation and all of that. When I was still crying that they took down the Instagram, boom, I realized that my WhatsApp was no longer active.
Business WhatsApp as well?
Yes, because my WhatsApp was linked to my Instagram. Like, when you go to most of all these online vendors, when you go to their bio, you see like a link on the bio that will like click on the bio to chat with us on WhatsApp. So the link that was linked to the WhatsApp link, they also disabled the WhatsApp, and I lost both my WhatsApp account and my Instagram account on the same day. So that day, I remembered everybody calling me to say, hey, Lily, you'll be fine. Just take it. It's one of those things. I think you'll get back this page. You know, they were just giving me that encouragement that day. And I just had to gather my strength to go to my sister's wedding, which was the next day. But trust me, I went to that wedding with a swollen eyes because I couldn't just wrap my head around the reason why that happened in the first place. So apparently, we had to open another account that day that the page got disabled, you know, just to start again. By Monday, that happened on a Friday. By Monday the next week, they took down that new page again. So at that point, I didn't know what I was doing wrong. So everybody was like, Lily, I think at this point you should get a new phone, get a new SIM, change your business name, change everything. Everything anybody was suggesting at that point, I was going to do because I just want to get back into business and all of that. I got a new phone, new SIM, new everything. I registered again, and after 24 hours, they took that account again.
The third time.
The third time. At that point, I didn't know what I was doing wrong. It was frustrating because when you fall down or when you hit a rock, the right attitude is to bounce back,
pick
yourself up, to start again. But when you keep picking yourself up and you keep falling back to where you were coming from, it looks as if you're not making any movement at all. So it was a very crazy phase. I saw myself crying. I felt one level of pain that I couldn't understand because people who can't relate can't even understand what was going on with me, because some people would say, Lily, boy, just a social media handle, but that is my business platform. Okay, my dad called me one morning and was like, Mama, but this is just a social media account. I said, but that is where I do my business. All of my customers are on that space. Now it looks as if, literally, I had to make him understand what that felt like to me.
Yeah.
You have a physical store, and everybody knows you in the store. You wake up one morning, that store, they've pushed you out of that space. Now you have to manage to gather another energy to go to another space. And you go there, they push you out again. You go to the third one, they push. This was what was happening to me. I counted 9 different accounts. And each time this thing happened, I sell my phone, get a new phone, get a new SIM, change a business name, because they wouldn't let you have the same name on Instagram. Like now, all this while, I had to change my name. I was changing my name on Instagram. But yeah, they keep taking down this account. It got to a time I was thinking if it was being brought down deliberately by someone, because I couldn't understand. I was sending...
Were you given a reason why this has been happening?
This page went against the guideline on drugs and gun.
So at this point, you were already feeling so down about the whole thing.
It was crazy. At that point, I couldn't understand why it was happening. I could barely eat well. I could barely sleep. I could barely pray. Because I just want to cry. I was literally crying every moment of the day.
Okay, moving on. At this stage where you were, did you at some point feel like being suicidal, taking your life?
For once, I never thought of that, because I kept on, more like I married a man who was always assuring me that even if you don't have any other thing you do on planet Earth, I'm going to take care of you. You know, that kind of encouragement. And now remember that you have us, you have me, and you have the children. Now, if not for anything, these kids were my family in general. They were the reason why I kept on, gathering myself and telling myself that no matter how painful the situation is, I'm going to go through this phase of my life, because I know it's a season, it's going to pass. I just kept on encouraging myself. And that was why, the other day I was speaking with you, I just told you then that everybody experiences this thing
differently.
It just happened in different level and intensity. Now, it's okay to feel this way once in a while, but it is never okay to remain there in that position, because you just have to help yourself too. Because the more you start indulging yourself in that sad kind of mood, it keeps getting worse. So you just have to look for a way of making it working around that situation so that it doesn't get worse.
So at your own level of this devastation, it didn't sound like it was so intense because you caught it at the early stage.
Yeah.
Having people who was
Yeah, when you have the
encouraging
right
you.
people in your circle, they always make you feel much better.
So going through this for our viewers and people who
Yeah.
are watching, who are going through the intense level
Level
of
of pain,
this,
yeah.
what kind of advice do you think?
Well, the
They should
first
get.
thing I'm always going to tell anybody that is going through a sad phase, because I just see this as a phase in life that comes once in a while in people's life. Once it start happening, just seek help. You can relate with someone you can trust. There's always going to be somebody you can talk to about whatever you're going through, because once you start bottling it in, it start eating you up inside. So when you have the right circle of people around you, I think that is the first healing phase of this depression thing. If you have the right set of people around you, they can actually make you feel okay. So I will always tell anybody that is going through this kind of situation, don't keep it to yourself. Speak out, relate with people and tell them what you're going through. You never can tell. Help can be just around the corner, but keeping it within yourself, I think that is where the whole issue starts from.
Okay, so after then, how have you?
Okay, I just had to manage myself, and I just had to tell myself that if this thing is happening, first of all, I had to just have a change of attitude. That was the first thing that happened to me. When it kept on happening over and over and over again, it got to a point I just told myself that if these things are happening because God permitted it, I just have to embrace that, have a right change of attitude, because there was a time I was feeling God does not love me. Why is he allowing this to happen to me? Why, of all the pages on social media, there are pages who sell branded products and all those new kind of products, why are they not taking such pages down? So I was blaming and complaining, but it got to a time I stopped doing all those. I changed my attitude, and I think my healing started coming clearer to me when I changed my attitude. I changed the attitude towards this issue. It's for the same issue, but I had to change my attitude toward that same issue that was causing me so much pain. I just changed the attitude I was giving towards it. I started indulging myself in things that made me feel much better. I started playing music, listening to gospel music, and I started healing. I just had to start seeking for healing within and all of that. But it would have still continued if at all I was indulging it, if at all I was giving it some vitamin, giving it reason why it should hurt me. But I just had to snap out of that phase, and I changed the attitude I was using to face that reality, my new reality now. And all of what.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lillian. It's not easy sharing your problem, because people who go through these things know how they feel. Most times they explain to people they don't understand, but you know how you feel.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for sharing this to our viewers. In case or you yourself is going through this thing, like our guest has explained, seek help, pray about it, listen to music. It's therapy for everybody.
Yeah.
Still on the series of our special episode on surviving depression, we have Emmanuel Akuba. He's a content creator, a YouTuber, a social media manager, and a chef in training. Most importantly, he survived depression. Welcome to Unfiltered, Mr. Emmanuel.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, to further this conversation,
Okay.
What was the major or key factor that pushed you into depression?
Well, I have to say it has to be from the background, the environment where I grew up from. It was majorly from, that was when I was much younger, my younger years, okay? The environment was kind of, should I say, there was a lot of bully. There was a lot of activities going on there. I shouldn't say slum boy. It was kind of those kind of activities were going there. So I went through a lot of bully when I was younger. I went through a lot of bully. I also met a lot of people after then. So the whole thing just changed into a whole different aspect of life. I met a different kind of lifestyle.
Okay. So was it during your childhood
Yes, growing up, yeah.
that you were depressed?
Growing up, yeah. Actually, when someone is going through emotional stuffs, it can affect the whole thing, and it can come off in many ways, and that's what can actually come off as depression. Like when I was growing up, that was more like the bully. Okay, assuming after someone, for instance, being bullied or whatever, it has an emotional effect on the person. It always does. On a child, it always does. So if those kind of things are not digged up from that place, it will keep on storing up and storing up, keep on storing up till the person even grows to maturity, but the impact is still there. It has not gone through out from the person. So the person has to over time to check. Yes, it has to do a lot with my background. Yes, a lot of with the past and much younger years. Yeah.
So during your depression phase,
Yes.
how did you know you were depressed?
Well, but one of how I got to know was I just loved being isolated. I don't want to associate with people. Aside from that, I just loved my own space and every other thing. I just didn't want to cut in with anybody. Then also, always the feeling of feeling down is always there. Feeling rejected, feeling kind of isolated is always there. And also feeling that feeling that you feel like nobody can actually understand where you're coming from is also there too. I had that feeling like nobody can actually, if I sit you down to talk to you about something, you won't understand where I'm coming from. So that kind of feeling made me to be like, okay, just keeping it to myself. And why keeping it is storing?
How long do you think this lasted?
Well, let's say from the years of my secondary school down to, let's say, okay, 2016 to, that should be to, that's 2021.
So that would be 5 years.
That's probably like 5
You
or
were
something.
depressed for a period of 5 years.
Yes, very serious.
So during that phase, did you at some point feel suicidal? Want to take your own life? And
Yes, I did.
so what was the pushing point of you thinking to take your life?
We everybody as a human thing, as all we humans, you understand, we have that feeling of being accepted. Every one of us, we all do have that feeling of being loved. And when that thing is lacking, it can make someone to feel empty. And I think that was the whole thing. And also being understood. A place that someone feels like they are not being understood, it can make that person to feel rejected, feel also depressed. We always want this, at least let there be one person that can actually understand where I'm coming from. And if there's nobody that can actually understand where you're coming from, it makes you feel like you're not just part of the entire universe, you're just out there. Understand? So
at that point, you were
Yeah.
feeling like taking your life. Did you think about people you were leaving behind in terms of your siblings, your parents? Did you think that this will probably lead them into the same phase that I'm going through? And what if at the end of the day they find the best solution is taking their lives as well? Were you thinking about them at all?
Well, I didn't think about that part. One thing about the depression is that depression will make someone take rational decisions. You understand? They won't think through because if someone actually feel they are only the person that is going through whatever they are going through, they won't think about others. That's the real fact about it. So it has to come out from the person just not viewing the only okay, let's say not viewing only his decisions or whatever he wants to do to be the only reason for what he wants to do. So you have to put others in. But at that critical point, they might find it hard to think about others or whatever. They just want to just get out from that thing.
During that phase, did you seek for help? Did you talk to people about your condition to see if there's any help?
Well, they say knowledge is power. So I shouldn't say anybody should do that. I actually went online. I started searching on how to deal with it because I felt like nobody actually understood. There's nobody can actually understand how I feel. So the whole thing, I went online. I was following lessons on how to deal with emotions, how to dig up traumas and everything. So at some point, I think the first lesson I learned there was that it's more like a blog. So she was saying that you have to, first of all, sit with your feelings. You have to sit down with your feelings. You have to write them out. That was another thing. So after writing them down, you have to, first of all, calm down, know where you are coming from with those emotions. Because so many people actually don't know what's the root essence of their feeling at that point. They just know they are sad, but they don't know there's a root cause of it. It's coming from somewhere. It didn't just pop out from nowhere. So I had to started noting all those things and on my own, yeah.
So going through this devastation, through this process, what is the advice you can give to somebody who is going through same thing or even more worse situations than your own phase?
Okay. I would say for someone that is going through depression, you have to seek for help. You have to take out this concept that you have to be the one to figure it out by yourself. Because sometimes it can be overwhelming. You can't figure it out. It's not easy. So you have to look for people, ask around, check around to know if you can see someone and actually can guide you or can give you advice or something. Understand? Then aside from that, you have to know that the work is personal. It's not something that you give out to someone. It's still you. Everything is still you. So you have to be the one to know how to. Personally, sometimes, it's going to sound somehow, but sit down with your feelings, Try to know where they are coming from. Don't just feel them, you just pop out, you just start feeling them, no. It's all those things are mostly, they are coming from emotions being stored up, not dealt with. It's not dealt with, it's not being understood. Once you understand your emotions, you know how to control it. But if you don't understand it, no. You just pop out from anywhere and you start feeling that way. And the person starts responding to that way, no.
After the past 5 years, have you subsequently felt like you want to go back to that phase?
Nah. I coped a lot. I think that state of feeling actually brought me to many things. I got to know about taking a lot of stuff to feel better. I started taking alcohol, started going to many things too. So
do you do that till now or
no,
everything?
Nah.
So besides the intake of all those things, you're perfectly fine.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Thank you for joining the show, Mr. Kuba. It was a good one.
This marks the end of our series on depression. Have you experienced depression? Are you experiencing depression? We want to hear from you. You can send in your comments on any of our social media handles. This is Unfiltered, All Things Considered, a PSN podcast.